They say a happy wife means a happy life. Some men forget this advice
Sam, you gotta help me, man.
at their own risk. A gangster's maul learns all the tricks of the trade.
Inside, she's as tough as nails. You wouldn't want to cross her.
A material woman knows just what her husband is worth.
She had the ability to know right from wrong, and she chose to do wrong.
Get on that bed!
And a long-suffering spouse
Shut up!
No.
turns the tables.
She was like a little mouse being put through narrower and narrower corridors.
These women can't resist the temptation to become self-made widows. London's East End, today a bustling market hub. But during the 60s, this working-class neighborhood is the Cockney capital of armed robbery.
A deprived area, and not much work, everybody poor, hard-working, basically honest people, but being so deprived, of course, crime thrived in that area.
Criminals strike fear into the hearts of some and desire into the hearts of others.
Linda Calvey is a woman who never met a bad boy she didn't like.
She had a real look about her, a 60s Twiggy model, Carnaby Street, but she was a beautiful, buxom-looking woman.
Smoldering 20-year-old Linda Welford is born to be on the arm of a gangster.
She seemed to have this big influence over the men she met, and certainly was never short of male attention and admirers.
Today's admirer is one of London's most hardened armed robbers.
He must be Mickey.
26-year-old Mickey Calvey.
Can I get me a drink then?
You think you're worth it?
He did all the top jobs. He was what they call a stand-on man. He was very respected and he wouldn't let anyone down.
Linda's friend, Katie Cray, is one woman who knows what it's like to marry an infamous gangster.
I was married to Ronnie Cray, one half of the Cray twins, the notorious Cray twins.
Mickey's just out of prison. To Linda, his long rap sheet is pure catnip.
I thought you'd be pug ugly.
Come on, then.
And from that minute, she had Mickey Calvey.
She was looking for some excitement in her life. The easy road was not the road for Linda.
Which is just as well. Mickey soon ends up behind bars, and Linda learns there's nothing conventional about criminal life. Not even your wedding.
Mickey was in prison at the time when they got married, and he was handcuffed right way through the ceremony. So that was Linda's introduction to marriage.
On Mickey's release in 1978, another lesson. Criminal rewards may be high, but the risks are too. During a botched armed robbery, Mickey pays with his life.
Scotland Yard's flying squad team ambushed the gang.
Mickey ended up turning toward the cop with a shotgun, and the cop shot him first.
With her husband dead,
Haven't caught you at a bad time, have I?
the East End criminal community rallied to support Linda.
One of the big names and one of the most successful armed robbers at the time, a man called Ronnie Cook,
Yeah, doing all right for money?
Not too bad.
threw a benefits party to raise money for Linda and the family.
If there's anything you need, you just, I'll already know, yeah?
Linda's never going to be alone for long.
Anything.
Actually, there is something.
Ronnie Cook is another gangster heavyweight who falls under her spell.
There is something.
He'd kind of really fallen for her, and he'd sort of lavished her with gifts.
He took her to Vegas, he bought the best fur coats, the best jewellery. Everything that she wanted, Ronnie got for her.
But soon, Linda is on her own once again. In 1981, Ronnie goes to prison for 16 years for armed robbery.
Ronnie was jailed for his part in one of the biggest robberies in the UK.
I miss you.
I miss you so much.
I don't think you miss me like I miss you.
I've got something to show you.
Linda was completely besotted by Ronnie Cook, and she promised that when he went to jail that she would wait for him.
True love, Ron Cook.
And she had a tattoo done on her leg saying, "True love, Ronnie."
It's lovely, isn't it?
But 16 years is a long time to be without a man.
Listen, I've arranged for someone to look after you while I'm in here, yeah?
Okay.
So Ronnie makes sure Linda is looked after.
He's a good lad. He'll do what I say.
He basically arranged for one of his trusted friends, Brian Thorogood, himself an experienced armed robber,
You do what he says because he's doing what I say.
to look after Linda and to provide her with money. Thorogood gave her £100 spending money every week, for instance.
See, even when I'm in here, I'm looking after you.
But once again, the inevitable. Linda's famous allure snags yet another gangster.
Once again, Linda just cast a spell completely over Brian Thorogood. And he fell totally hook, line and sinker in love with Linda.
He kept an eye on her, all right. He left his wife and moved in with her.
Brian not only takes Ronnie's lover,
Don't worry, he'll never know.
but his criminal empire too.
Linda didn't just want to be with men that were criminals. She wanted to be a criminal herself.
For years, Linda has learnt from the best. Now she's ready to prove how tough she is.
Please help me, stop!
Linda's armed robbery operation was very sophisticated.
Get out there and check this out.
One of the robberies, she made out to be pregnant.
She suddenly produced a gun from her tummy. These guys were completely stunned.
Open the van! Now!
Linda is a natural. But soon, like her husband and her lovers, her criminal career is cut short.
Linda Calvey got 7 years and 4 months for armed robbery. So now she's got Mickey, who's dead. She's got Ronnie Cook serving 16 years in prison. And now there's Brian Thorogood with 22 years.
While Linda and Brian are behind bars, Ronnie hears rumors of their affair.
Ronnie said that he would kill Brian Thorogood if he met him again. But he absolutely adored Linda and he forgave her straight away.
Ronnie can forgive infidelity, but will he be so big-hearted when he finds out his mistress's other secret?
She had been going through Ronnie's loot that she was supposed to be safeguarding like a sailor on leave.
East London, 1989. Linda Calvey has graduated from Gangster Mall to Gangster.
Don't you move!
But after serving 4 years for armed robbery, she has another worry. She's been stealing her boyfriend's money.
She was fearful of the retribution which Cook would visit on her once he discovered that all his money was gone.
Ronnie Cook is a tough man. Linda needs someone even tougher to help her. 35-year-old inmate Danny Reese fits the bill.
Danny Reese was known as the most dangerous man in the prison system.
I'm scared of Ronnie.
Big, strong, powerful man, did lots of weights.
I want him dead.
Linda went to see Danny in prison
I can pay you 10,000.
and offered him 10,000 pounds to kill Ronnie.
Linda will use the last of Ronnie's money to hire his killer. But it's not the cash that makes Danny's heart beat faster.
He said from the moment he saw her, he just fell for her.
I'm sure we can work something out.
And she just cast her spell on Danny, and Danny was an extremely dangerous man.
Both Ronnie and Danny are coming to the end of their sentences. They're eligible for day release from prison. Linda is going to invite them both home.
Linda had arranged for Danny Reese to be on a 2-day release.
On November 18th, 1990, Ronnie plans to meet Linda at home for dinner. But first, Linda picks up Danny for the warmest of welcomes.
Cooked him dinner, and they had a little party in Linda's house.
That smells delicious.
But they'll be serving more than dinner when Ronnie arrives.
She sent Cook into the house ahead, carrying the shopping.
When Danny Reese came in, he shot him with a sawn-off shotgun.
But Danny is not the hardened hitman Linda expected.
What Danny couldn't do, Linda was willing to do. More than willing.
Neil! Neil!
She made him kneel in front of her and look at her.
Linda, please!
Cook would have been devastated. This was a woman that he trusted and had a relationship with. He was obviously infatuated by her.
Please! Don't!
She shot him in the face with the shotgun. That's not killing someone, that's obliterating them.
It was cold-blooded murder, very callous, calculated, and without any remorse.
Danny Reese then left the scene and then got on the train back to his prison, went back into the prison system and got back in his cell and carried on his sentence. Which, you think about it, it's almost a perfect alibi, isn't it?
Linda plans to inherit Ronnie's criminal empire and his money.
I heard him yelling.
By blaming the murder on his gangster associates.
Then I heard a loud bang.
She suggested that it might be any one of a number of underworld figures.
But when police find fingerprints at the scene belonging to Danny Reese, Linda can't bank on loyalty from her criminal lover.
They picked up Danny. He sang like a bird. He told him exactly what happened.
In November 1991, despite not firing the fatal shot, Daniel Reese is found guilty of murder and sentenced to life.
Linda was very skilled at manipulating men to do what she wanted, even if it was murder.
Linda Calvey is also found guilty of murder and sentenced to a minimum of 15 years.
Linda never expressed any remorse or showed any guilt or shame for what she did to Ronnie, the man that she said she truly loved and meant everything to her.
The story should end there, but in a bizarre twist, in prison, Linda marries Danny Reese, the man who put her there.
In an extraordinary wedding ceremony attended by a number of women serving life sentences for a bizarre collection of grisly murders and so on.
By the time Linda is released in 2008, the marriage is over. Just in time for the next man in line.
So Linda was actually picked up at the finish of her 17 years in prison in a white convertible Rolls Royce by her latest beau. So watch this space.
She draws them into her web simply by the force of her personality.
In 2009, 61-year-old Linda says, "I do," for the third time. Her 76-year-old husband has no criminal past.
Her husband joked at the wedding, well, you know, at my age, if she kills me, she kills me.
Linda's a really beautiful, beautiful woman, but inside she's as tough as nails. You wouldn't want to cross her.
Actions speak a lot louder than words, and shotguns are loudest of all.
Lord, thank you for the food we are about to receive.
We think we know the people we love.
Amen.
You just never know what type of person you're talking to or dealing with.
But some women hide behind a mask so well
that an individual can be this sick, this disturbed,
that even loved ones can't see their true natures.
She had the ability to know right from wrong, and she chose to do wrong.
San Luis Obispo, California, February 2000. Working as a counselor at a boot camp for wayward teens, 32-year-old Angelina Fuller can't take her eyes off her coworker, Frank Rodriguez.
Now, we read some of the Gospel according to Matthew together. Do you remember?
Everybody loved Frank. He was a saint, just a super guy, very, very religious guy.
Forgiveness, okay? So I want you to go back in there, and I want you to step up, okay?
41-year-old Frank's marriage has just ended.
Good stuff.
And he finds himself drawn to Angelina's charm.
She was a very outgoing person, very talkative person, seemed very intelligent.
How did it go?
Yeah, not bad. They got some issues to get over, but they'll get there.
You're so good with them.
Drive me crazy sometimes.
Angelina's smile masks a tragic past. In 1993, she experiences every mother's worst nightmare.
She had laid the baby down for a nap.
Come on, sleepyhead.
Angelina's youngest daughter, 13-month-old Alicia, died suddenly in her crib. The rubber nipple was found in Alicia's throat.
Alicia!
This is the worst thing that can happen to a parent.
The devastating death puts an end to Angelina's marriage.
It's not unusual for couples to divorce after the death of a child.
7 years later, Angelina wants to make a new start. So does her coworker, Frank. And just 3 months after meeting, the couple marry.
They moved down to Montebello, where they rented a house after being married.
He was the perfect guy. He loved her and would do anything for her.
But the honeymoon period is short-lived. Once again, Angelina is plagued by bad luck. A month after they marry, a gas leak fills their house with dangerous fumes. Frank narrowly escapes disaster.
Fortunately, Frank noticed something was wrong and called the gas company, and they fixed it. What he should have done that he didn't do was run like the wind.
Frank thinks he's the luckiest man alive.
Lord, thank you for the food we are about to receive. And thank you for protecting us against the gas leak.
But Angelina is not the devoted Christian wife she seems.
Within a few short months, she started growing tired of Frank. Angelina was having an affair with a gentleman by the name of Matt.
Angelina covers her deceit perfectly.
You poor thing. What are you doing sitting up?
Even playing the dutiful wife when Frank suddenly becomes sick.
And there we go. How are you feeling?
The physician told Angelina it was food poisoning and to give him a sports drink to keep him hydrated.
Despite Angelina nursing him with sports drinks,
The doctor said you need more fluids. Come on.
Frank's illness goes from bad to worse.
He'd have felt lousy, like he had the flu. Vomiting, muscle aches and pains, weakness, lethargy.
Come on, I need...
Kind of drifting off.
There you go.
Nobody realizes just how serious Frank's illness is.
Drink.
Or the true cause.
You just never know what type of person you're talking to or dealing with.
Open up. All right.
The quiet town of Montebello, Southern California. September 9th, 2000. Angelina Rodriguez wakes in the early hours to a nightmare.
She found him on the floor in the bedroom.
Angelina calls 911.
She explained to them that he'd been sick, she had taken him to the doctor and that type of stuff.
Police are at a loss as to how an otherwise healthy 41-year-old could die from the flu. But then Angelina gets a mysterious phone call.
I received a call. He said he knew who killed Frank.
An unknown caller had called her and said that he had killed Frank and that never be able to prove it, and they used antifreeze.
He said to tell them to check for antifreeze.
An autopsy soon reveals the caller is correct.
Or equivalent amounts of 5 to 6 shots.
Antifreeze.
Yeah, he said if they test him, they find it there, then they'll...
The call helps police prove Frank's death is murder.
When did you get this call?
Last night.
But there's one problem.
All right, well, thank you for coming in. We'll be sure to check that out.
Thank you.
Then we checked her phone records and we realized that she did not receive a phone call that day during that time on her phone. No call, it was made up.
No call came in. But police find hundreds of calls out to Angelina's lover. When detectives question him, they make a shocking discovery.
You know, I'm not really always sneaking around.
On one occasion, when Angelina had come up to visit him and stay with him.
We don't have to do it for that much longer.
What are you gonna do?
I've already done it.
What have you done?
I left the gas on in the garage.
She made a comment that, you know, maybe by the time she gets home, the house would have exploded and Frank would be dead.
The gas leak is no accident. Angelina wants her husband's money, but not her husband.
Angelina convinced Frank to take out a $250,000 life insurance policy on himself and make her the sole beneficiary.
But without a cause of death, the insurance company won't release funds. So Angelina makes up the incriminating phone call.
She thought she was being clever, as most psychopaths do. But in fact, she was painting red concentric circles right on her own forehead.
Angelina is arrested for murder, but she has one more trick up her sleeve: eliminating a key witness.
You knew what I was doing. You didn't say anything. You can go to jail for that, you know.
Yeah? They haven't arrested me yet.
This is getting bigger than anyone could have imagined. You don't shut your mouth. You're gonna regret this.
One of Angelina's friends was going to testify against her.
I'm gonna regret it. You know what? Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear from you again.
Angelina didn't want that to happen, so she attempted to have her killed.
Angelina approaches a fellow inmate
How do you want it done?
to organize the hit.
I was thinking robbery gone bad. Someone to come in and shoot her in the head is not exactly out of the ordinary. So, I think I found a middleman.
And soon she gets news from the outside.
Super, right?
The job is done, and she'll be walking free.
Antonia.
She made some statements that without her being in the picture, she was going to go free.
But once again, Angelina wasn't quite as smart as those around her.
I'm doing much better.
The hit is actually a police sting.
They had a makeup artist that basically looked like she had sustained a gunshot wound.
We had an undercover officer go visit Angelina in jail, and during the visit, he showed her the photographs.
Angelina's joy is short-lived. Her plot seals her fate.
She had a look on her face that I'll never, ever forget. She turned as white as a ghost, and she realized that she had been caught, that her gig was up.
But there's one last horrifying twist. Police look into the death of Angelina's 13-month-old daughter.
Alicia's death turned out to be very lucrative for Angelina. The payoff from the manufacturer of the pacifier was $750,000.
Detectives re-examine the forensic evidence and make an unthinkable discovery.
We noticed some things that weren't consistent with the pacifier just coming unglued. That an individual can be this sick, this disturbed to take a pacifier and basically shove it down your baby's throat.
Lord, thank you for the food we are about.
And then to live with yourself all these years.
Thank you for protecting us against
This whole case, I mean, just everything she did was just appalling.
When Angelina received that huge check for her daughter's death, it reinforced that murder is not such a bad thing, especially if you could get away with it.
In October 2003, Angelina Rodriguez is found guilty of the first-degree murder of her husband, Frank. During sentencing, the prosecution tells the jury how she killed her daughter. Angelina is sentenced to death.
I think, but once they heard strong evidence that she had killed their 13-month-old baby back in '93, again for money, I don't think it was that difficult for most.
At sentencing, the judge said, in his 20 years on the bench, Angelina had the coldest heart he'd ever seen. She told him she had lived her life with integrity. The gavel came down, and Angelina will be living the rest of her life with integrity on death row.
Angelina Rodriguez is awaiting execution at the Central California Women's Facility.
She had the ability to know right from wrong, and she chose to do wrong.
When criminals are gunned down,
he was a danger to society.
It seems safe to assume it's a gangland hit.
Betrayed and murdered and left on a road to die.
But life is never that simple. Albany, New York, 1920. Italian immigrant Anna Capello lives in a violent gut district,
which was rife with prostitutes, drug running, gun running, and a great many very nefarious occupations, people trying to make a buck any way they could. Someone like Anna had very few opportunities.
But 16-year-old Anna has plans for escape in the form of Salvatore Antonio.
Sal was almost twice her age, 30 years old.
Captivated by her childlike charms, Sal wants to make Anna his wife.
Anna was a tiny woman. She had the build, the fragile bones of a sparrow.
Sal has a good job.
My daughter tells me you work in the railroad, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a brakeman. It's a good job, good money.
And solid prospects.
Salvatore Antonio was a working man. He was a union guy with the railroad.
And what are your intentions with my daughter?
My intentions are the very best, sir. I hope that one day she'll be my wife.
Despite the 14-year age gap, Anna's parents give the couple their blessing.
All right, you have my blessing.
Thank you, sir.
But Anna doesn't really know who she's marrying.
Salute.
Salute.
Sal isn't the man he appears to be.
So, is there a problem with the gun? Huh? Enough fire bullets?
He was involved in a number of nefarious activities. Selling guns, hung around with bad people.
Sal and his associates have a very successful little earner.
How about dope? Huh? Dope good for your heart? Huh?
Selling a product new to the market, heroin.
Prohibition was the law then. One couldn't get a drink, and people looked for other methods to relieve their emotional pain.
So in those days, heroin addiction was very common.
Sal runs his drug and gun racket with an iron fist.
You got 24 hours, not a minute later. You understand me? Huh? Go. Go on. Go!
And is just as dangerous at home.
10 o'clock, not a minute later.
He had very strict rules for Anna, exactly how she was to behave at all times, and he enforced these rules by beating her whenever she was negligent in his eyes.
Anna discovers the truth about her husband's temperament too late.
Not now, Sal. I'm gonna be late.
Late for what?
I'm going to the theater with Sally.
Going to the theater with Sally? Excuse me?
Sally has tickets.
No, I don't care what she got. You're staying home.
But Sal, I told you about these weeks ago.
Now they are married. There's no escaping his temper.
Are you talking back to me?
Going to the theater. I'm not.
No!
In New York State, until 1966, you could not get a divorce except if you could prove adultery.
Don't you talk to me like that again.
No!
Get on that bed!
In other words, a man could beat his wife to smithereens, and she could not divorce him on those grounds.
Get on that bed!
Get on the bed! No!
Shut up!
No!
Yes!
His wife was his chattel. That is how Sal treated Anna, and she had nowhere to go.
For 12 years, Anna is a long-suffering wife.
Let me look. Girls, clean up that mess now. Go!
Life for a woman was very, very difficult. All the housework had to be done by hand, including washing, clothes, the house, the kids, and preparing 3 or 4 meals a day.
Anna shoulders the burden of the housework and her husband's rage.
Why can't you keep the house in order? What is wrong with you?
Okay, girls, it's time for your bath. Marie, go run the bath. Phyllis, go help your brother. Go.
Dinner ready?
Shielding her family from the brunt of Sal's brutality.
Sauce is still cooking. Ah!
There was not much happiness in the Antonio household.
She was evidently a good and attentive mother, but her husband presented enormous problems for her.
Perhaps a man with an enterprise like Sal's will not be around forever. Albany, New York, 1932. Anna Antonio is married to a vicious gangster.
I'm not getting on the bed. Get on that bed! I'm not getting on the bed!
Salvatore Antonio was not a nice guy. He was a danger to society. He was involved in gun activity, selling illegal drugs, brutalizing his wife and family.
Close your eyes. Close them. She took 2 sips and began to grow very tall.
On March 27th, 1932, Anna reads bedtime stories to her children.
But she just kept on growing.
While Sal is out with his gangland pals, Vince Saeta and Sam Faraci.
Go over here. What's going on? Funny guy wants to take a leak. No, come on, we gotta get back. Let's go.
But in the middle of nowhere, the night takes a fateful turn.
They had stopped the car in a remote area, apparently to relieve themselves.
The younger one, Saeta, pulled out a gun and began to fire at Sal.
Finish him, man! Get the knife, finish him! Say you gotta help me.
He begged for his life, saying, "What have I ever done to you?"
You gotta help me, man. I can't help you. Finish it!
The job is done. When a gangster is killed, the first suspects are his criminal associates.
The police eventually found out that the night before Sal was murdered, he went out to dinner with Saeta and Faraci. And they questioned them.
All I'm telling you is I didn't do it. I didn't kill the guy.
We can't go until we get to the bottom of this.
I've already told you.
Well, we got all day.
I told you, I was there, but I didn't kill him. It wasn't me.
Being hardened criminals,
What, do you want me to tell you again?
they didn't give up any information right away.
Were you the stabber or the shooter?
After 3 days, Vince and Sam turn on each other.
I did not kill him.
I was there, but he's the one that killed him.
Vince. Vince did it.
But when that doesn't work, they try another bold tactic. The truth.
Okay.
She offered us $800. She said he had 2 life insurance policies.
He beats me. I have no other way out.
What do you want me to do?
Stop him.
They told the police that they had a meeting with Anna, and she promised to pay them $800 to kill her husband.
Whatever it takes, I'll give you $800.
Where are you gonna get that kind of money?
He has 2 life insurance policies.
Through his legitimate railway job, Sal has life insurance. $5,300 worth.
I know somebody that can help.
It's enough to finance his murder and set up Anna and her family for life.
She couldn't possibly have paid these 2 assailants if she didn't have the insurance money. She had no money of her own.
Sympathetic to Anna's predicament and hungry for cash, Vince and Sam agreed to take care of Sal.
Hey, what's going on?
Police can hardly believe
I didn't do it.
that Sal's tiny widow put a price on his head.
I had no other way out.
When they saw little Anna Antonio, they couldn't believe that she would plot her husband's murder.
her choices grew less and less. She was like a little mouse being put through narrower and narrower corridors with only one way out that she could see.
In April 1933, Vince Saeta and Sam Faraci are found guilty of first-degree murder. Their sentence, death.
The men thought they were going to get away with it because a woman was involved.
Anna Antonio is also found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to death.
There was a lot of sympathy and effort on her behalf to stop this execution. The judicial system would have no part of it, said she received a fair trial and the sentence should be carried through.
In August 1934, at Sing Sing Prison, New York, Anna Antonio walks to the electric chair, leaving her children behind.
When she saw what was happening to her family, that her son was taken by a relative, but her 2 daughters went to an orphanage, she probably very much regretted her decision to have her husband murdered.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil.
She looked very fragile and doll-like there.
For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory.
She put her head down, her chin on her chest. She said the last prayer with the Catholic priest before they turned on the electrode.
Anna's plan to protect her family failed, and she pays with her life.
I don't think Anna was a natural-born killer at all, or a psychopath. This looks to me like a murder that was self-defense by proxy. She had nowhere to go, but she couldn't stay.
These deadly women plan to profit from murder. Linda Calvey killed to protect herself and her ill-gotten gains. Angelina Rodriguez valued money more than lives.
Drink.
And Anna Antonio wanted her brutal husband gone for good. All 3 killed for profit. They were self-made widows.